going to vote, the way I do this is I'll explain to them, you've been working, we acknowledge that, it's late. If you want, you can go home for the evening, come back tomorrow, fresh, and continue your deliberations. I send them back to decide if that's what they want to do or not, and then go from there.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Okay.
All right, let's bring them out.
So he's sending them home. He's sending them home and having them come back tomorrow. But they sent in a note. They haven't come in the room yet. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. 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 I gotta be honest with you. I'm pretty surprised about that. But they were so divided, you know. Hey everyone coming in. Look how tired she looks. I'm not slagging on her for that. I don't blame her. She looks really tired. So, in case you're just joining, the jury sent a note to the judge saying we are unable to come to a unanimous verdict. The jury is not in the room. The judge asked each party for their reaction. It's been 5.5 hours. Yep. So yeah, and that is the prosecution's argument that it's only been a few hours. So he's going to send them back home, but they're bringing them back in now. Yes, it is 6 jurors, so that's interesting. Really interesting.
You all can have a seat. Welcome back. Members of the jury, I've received a note from you. It says unable to come to unanimous verdict. We all recognize that you've been working for almost 6 full hours, and it's getting late. It's almost 10 o'clock in the evening. I want you to go back, and there's an option that we can come back tomorrow and start fresh in the morning. I do have some court first thing in the morning, but we can get started same as every other day about 9 o'clock. So I'm going to ask you to step in the back and make a decision amongst yourselves if you'd like to come back tomorrow morning fresh to start.
Or is no other option?
I need you to discuss that first, please.
What's the other option? I'm confused by what his instructions said.
All right, you all have a seat.
Last night I did. I see. So they, I think he sent them out to decide whether they want to stay and try and keep deliberating or come back again. Gosh, can't hear me. Sorry about that. I fully muted them this time. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I had the audio just turned down before. I guess it really competes with my sound. But anyway, so he sent them out to decide what they want to do, and they're going to come back in and tell them. That's what I was confused about. you miss the unable word, and now you wish your insomnia hadn't paid off for you this time. um yeah, it must be nerve-wracking for them, you know. I My stomach would be in absolute knots. No Allen charge. I forget. Can you remind me what an Allen charge is? I don't think so, Solo, but I forget what an Allen charge is. Shows you how shows you that I'm a super court pro. Luckily, I don't claim to be a court pro. Yeah, very long faces in the courtroom. You know, if I were her, I would not want a hung jury because she'll know that it needs to go to another trial. Um, I mean, it leaves them it leaves everybody in limbo, you know. It leaves the victim's family in limbo. Everybody, I mean, I know in the Karen Reed case, they've already announced they're retrying the case in January. I mean, um, I certainly hope in this case, like if this ends in a mistrial, like Karen Reed's did in both cases. Yeah, do you mean Alford plea? Is that what you mean? Um, yeah, there has been such division. So if this ends up in a mistrial, we have two prosecution teams that did not deliver. That you know, if you really take a look at it. And I think we have, you know, all of us have been pretty much expressing throughout the trial that, you know, these prosecutors, I guess I would give them maybe like a C plus. Out of all the prosecutors I've seen, I would give them like a C plus, right? At this point, in terms of their way, of presenting it, the organization, the approach, the understanding of human behavior, those types of things. That's the way I would look at it. Um, and I think that, you know, if there were another trial, both sides would have bettered their argument. I mean, at least you would hope so. um, at least you would hope so. So it's taking a little bit of time for the jury to figure out what they want to do. But if you aren't aware of what's going on right now, the jury, it's nearly 10 o'clock in their location right now, 10 o'clock at night, and they've been deliberating all this time, and it's been nearly 6 hours, and they sent a note saying we are unable to come to a unanimous verdict. There was no um there's in this case there's no um allegation of prosecutorial misconduct. I mean, not, at least not a formal one, right? Where we start to see all this stuff, but all these kind of sorry, the little dog next door is sort of distracting me a little bit. Hold on. Sorry, y'all. There's usually the dog next door doesn't bark so much and so close, but that little doggy was pretty close to my window there, and he was barking a lot more than usual. Anyway, yeah. So it is 5 women and 1 man on that jury, which is really interesting. So I had to get Steve away from the other dogs so they wouldn't start barking at each other and then start all of your dogs barking. The man is the youngest, 40 something. Interesting. So anyway, like I was doing, I was recapping before. So at this point, the jury has told the judge, all
right. The response from the jury is we will stay. Signed by a juror.
Oh, wow. Stay tonight?
So we'll be in recess until we get another question or a verdict.
That's right. Thank you.
All right. The response from the jury is we will stay. Signed by a juror. So we'll be in recess until we get another question or a verdict.
That's right. Thank you. Wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So they're going to stay. Yeah, someone is like, or maybe more than 1 people. Maybe more than 1 person is just like, I'm out. I'm out tomorrow. I can't hang with tomorrow. Not coming back. And the calculation in their mind could be, they probably doubt that they're going to come to a different conclusion even if they stay. Yeah. Judge Bev would be like, no way, I'm going home and going to bed. Yeah, this is surprising to me too. I kind of hadn't prepared for this in my mind, really, that they would be. So if you're late, if you're just coming in late, it is about 10 o'clock in their location. The jury wrote a note to the court about something like 20 minutes ago and said, we are unable to come to a unanimous verdict. They sat down and talked about it. There usually is a 4-person, but they haven't talked about it, Darlin Valentine. So the parties talked about it without the jury in the room and decided to tell the jury that they want them to keep deliberating. So either stay tonight and keep deliberating or come back tomorrow fresh and, with a new set of, refreshed, right? Okay. He said the 4-person would sign something. Yeah. So there usually is a 4-person. I think there has to be a 4-person. So anyway, and then we waited a few minutes and then the jury decided we're going to stay. So basically they're staying. But I guess what they're going to need to do now is try to figure out whether they can come to a unanimous decision. It is 6 jurors, 5 women and 1 man. And at least now, at this point, Ashley has an idea of the direction they're going. So at this point, it's either going to be hung jury or, well, who knows? But So what I'm gonna do is just go off camera and leave this stream open, and you guys are welcome to stay here and chat. Uh, I'll be coming in and out of chat, but feel free to stay here and watch this stream for a verdict watch. And I'll come back on when we hear them coming back in for a verdict. So, yeah, that's true, Johnny. Oh man, I would not want to be. Oh, I'm so glad. I've never ended up having to be on a jury. I have been called for jury duty. I've never ended up having to be on a jury. They iced me out for one reason or another. I at this point, Lou Coldfax B, I kind of don't think they're going to reach a verdict. Yeah, I thought about you, Mauve Moon, and other people who are. There was somebody else in chat earlier, and I have a terrible memory for names. Who was expressing the same feelings. So I understand. I completely understand why you're fuming. It's hard. It's hard to fathom. I know where I would have voted. I know what I would have voted. So, all right, feel free to hang out, make yourselves at home, just be respectful to each other. And when and if I hear something coming back in, I'll rejoin you here and we will react to the verdict. Alrighty. Alrighty. Looks like they're coming back in court, y'all. I'm going to make a community post. They're coming back in court. If I were a betting person, I would say they probably decided they're still hung. And so then it's a matter of, is the judge going to tell them, come back tomorrow? Still, you haven't deliberated long enough, come back tomorrow? Or is he going to say, all right, mistrial? I highly, highly, highly doubt that. That was just like 30 minutes or something, maybe an hour that they were gone, right? I highly doubt that they've made a decision that quickly. But it certainly has been nice chatting with you, and while we wait for them to come back, chatting in the chat. All right, so what do we think? What do y'all think? Hey, LFT. Yeah. It just seems weird. It does feel like, 6 hours? Come on. That doesn't seem like enough time. And remember, Judge Bev, she was like, nope. She sent them back several times, right? Even, I think it was like over a weekend. Didn't she keep them for a weekend? I didn't follow that trial like moment by moment, day by day, like a lot of people did, because the trial itself really aggravated me. But didn't she send them back? Didn't they come back on Friday and she was like, nope. Yeah, yeah. Murdaugh's was pretty quick. Um, um, and in some recent trials, the verdicts have been fairly quick, but there's a little bit of weirdness on this one. First of all, we've got a very confusing, domestic violence slash claim of self defense case. Also, there are 6 jurors. So the more confusing, complicated part of that, you would think that would be mitigated by having fewer jurors, but it appears not. We are back live. Anyone who's just joining, we are live, 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 live. So what has happened is the jury deliberated for about 5.5 hours, nearly, 5 hours, 45 minutes, and sent a note to the judge, and they said, we're unable to come to a unanimous verdict. He asked them to talk amongst themselves and decide whether they want to keep deliberating tonight or come back tomorrow with, fresh eyes and ears and all, fresh heads. And they said, we want to stay. And that was just about an hour ago, maybe 45 minutes. Wait, Solo, are you seeing somewhere where it says there's an actual verdict? Let me look. Okay, so people in the room are saying there is an actual verdict. There's an actual verdict. Does verdict mean hung? Oh yeah, the Chiron says, thank you, Solo. It's so funny. Sometimes we don't look right in front of our eyes. The jury has reached a verdict. Now, does verdict mean hung? Or does it mean they've actually come to a decision? I'm so not confident right now in anything I'm seeing. I'm like, no, they have not told what the verdict is. So I have the sound on the feed, and I have it all the way turned up. The court audio has not been turned up yet. So apparently there's an actual verdict, which is, if they really are, if is quote unquote hung jury a verdict. Yeah, I think Patricia's right. The verdict is we go home. We go home. We're gonna go home. Oh, mystery Chiron is that's a news term for where it says on the video, the law and crime video, where it says live now report, the jury has reached a verdict. That's called a Chiron. That's a Chiron in the lower third. As we say in broadcast. See the lower third Chiron? So on StreamYard, we also kind of have Chirons. See, I have a Chiron, but it doesn't look as newsy and, official. So I'm just curious about when they say the jury has reached a verdict, just about 45 minutes to an hour ago, they weren't able to come to a unanimous verdict. So does that mean something changed? What changed? Wait, I just watched the clock, and when it stops, we know. Come on. Let's go, people. So you have to feel for his family, right? Because remember, it was just 8 months before Doug and Ashley got married that his wife died, right? Ava's mother died. And then 8 months later, Doug runs off and gets married. And he not only doesn't tell his daughter that he got married, but he gets married after 13 days after meeting this woman at a political rally. I wish they would turn up so the reason we're not hearing anything is because there's no volume in the court. So anyway, then this young girl's dad meets and marries this woman, and then a few years later, her dad is interesting. LFT. And then next thing we know, her dad is having a child, but then can't see the child, and then he's dead. It's really hard. Okay, now here comes the defense team. She's looking she looks like she needs a bucket next to her, truly. I hope her bag is lined with plastic. She truly looks like she's about to hurl. I'm not slagging on her.
All right, we're back on the in state of Florida versus Ashley Benefield, 2020 CF 3014. I've been informed there's a verdict. Prior to bringing the jury out, I did want to make this announcement. The jury has reached a verdict, and I'm about to bring them out so the verdict can be reviewed and published. I know many of you here in the audience have been here throughout the trial, and I want to thank you for conducting yourselves appropriately throughout the trial. I realize that the reading of the verdict can be very stressful, and it is likely that some of you will agree with the jury's verdict, and some of you will not. As sometimes happens, it may be that no one is pleased with the jury's verdict. Whatever your personal feelings are about this jury's verdict, I ask you to remember that these jurors were randomly selected from our community. They were thoroughly questioned by the court and lawyers for both sides, and they were selected from the larger group to hear this case because of their demonstrated ability to be fair and impartial. I've paid close attention to this jury, and they have been attentive, observant, and focused throughout the trial. No matter how much you agree or disagree with the verdict, there are to be no outbursts of emotion. Our judicial system, in fact, our entire society, has relied on jurors to help resolve disputes for over 200 years. Their verdict needs to be respected, even if you don't understand it or don't agree with it. Are you ready to bring in the jury?
Yes, sir.
All right, bring them in.
Hey, Anna. Hi, everybody else coming in. Can you hear me? Hello, everyone coming in. Okay, I'm going to I can't compete with the court audio, so I'm going to keep myself quiet. But hello, everyone.
All right, you all can have a seat. Members of the jury, I understand you have a verdict, and you have a foreperson.
Yes, we do.
Ma'am, has the jury reached a verdict?
Yes, we have.
Is the verdict unanimous?
Yes, it is.
Would you please hand the verdict form to the deputy? I need to check it and make sure it's in proper form. Thank you. All right, the verdict appears to be in proper form. Madam Clerk, would you please publish the verdict?
In the Circuit Court of the 12th Judicial Circuit in Fort Yancey County, Florida, the state of Florida versus Ashley Benefield, case number 2020 CF 3014. Verdict. We, the jury, finds as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is guilty of manslaughter, a lesser included offense. Did Ashley Benefield actually carry a firearm? Yes. Did Ashley Benefield discharge a firearm? Yes. Did Ashley Benefield, as a result of discharging a firearm, cause death to Douglas Benefield? Yes. So say we all this 30th day of July, 2024 at Bradenton, Manatee County, Florida. Cheryl, foreperson.
Would either side like the jury polled? State? No. Defense?
Yes, sir.
Members of the jury, you're now going to be polled. The clerk is going to ask each of you individually if this is your verdict and the verdict of the jury as a whole. Madam Clerk.
Juror number 15, is this your verdict as well as the verdict of the jury as a whole? Yes. Juror number 20, is this your verdict as well as the verdict of the jury as a whole? Yes. Juror 21, is this your verdict as well as the verdict of the jury as a whole? Yes. Juror number 29, is this your verdict as well as the verdict of the jury as a whole? Yes. Juror number 33, is this your verdict as well as the verdict of the jury as a whole?
Yes.
And juror number 35, is this your verdict as well as the verdict of the jury as a whole? Yes.
Thank you. Members of the jury, I want to thank you for your time and consideration in this case. I know that many of you have missed important work obligations and family obligations and other engagements that you had planned, as well as time with your families. But I want to thank you for being willing to give us your time and your attention and being observant to this entire trial and serving as jurors and doing your civic duty. I have paperwork that we're going to give you that will reflect your service as a juror, as well as a piece of paper from the clerk's office documenting that each of you has been here for these number of days if you need it for work purposes. If you need some sort of other paperwork for work or anything like that, contact my judicial assistant and we'll be able to get that for you. I also want to advise you of some very special privileges that all jurors enjoy. No juror can ever be required to talk about the discussions that occurred in the jury room except by court order. For many centuries, our society has relied upon juries for consideration of difficult cases. We have recognized for hundreds of years that a jury's deliberations, discussions, and votes should remain their private affair as long as they wish it. Therefore, the law gives you a unique privilege not to speak about the jury's work. Although you are at liberty to speak with anyone about your deliberations, you are also at liberty to refuse to speak with anyone. A request to discuss either your verdict or your deliberations may come from those who are simply curious, from those who might seek to find fault with you, from the media, from the attorneys, or elsewhere. Bless you. It will be up to you to decide whether to preserve your privacy as a juror or not. Again, on behalf of myself, the entire judges of the 12th Circuit, thank you very much for your time and your attention during this trial. I now discharge you as jurors in this case and release you from any further obligations in this matter. You're free to go. Make sure you pick up your electronic devices, and please make sure that your notes stay with the deputy. They're going to be returned to me. They will be destroyed. No one will ever read your notes.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, you all can have a seat. The jury is out. State.
Judge, I would ask you to remand the defendant at this point. I believe she has a right to a PSI for sentencing, so I'm not sure if she would waive that or proceed with that.
Do you want to PSI?
I think we'd prefer to have PSI.
I'll sign an order tonight for that. It's a late in the evening. My judicial assistant will reach out to both of you tomorrow to begin coordinating a hearing, sentencing hearing. You could let her know how much time you need. Right now, the pre-sentence investigations are running a month to 6 weeks, so it'll certainly, the time for sentencing will be outside of that, but then you can let me know how much time you'll need.
Let me direct myself, Your Honor, to post-trial release if I can.
Yes, sir.
Under Youngston, I know that the Younghans, I know that the court is familiar with the standard. They stated in no uncertain terms, but if taken in good faith on grounds not frivolous but fairly debatable in view of the decisions of the Supreme Court, then the petitioner should be admitted to bail. And they set out for the trial court 3 factors. The first, with respect to the appeal not being frivolous, I think by the court's own acknowledgement at 2 different points in the trial, the court noted that we were dealing with novel issues that the court had not seen before. I think we certainly have good and sufficient grounds to appeal in good faith. The factors, according to Younghans, Your Honor, is the habits of the individual as respect for the law. Ms. Benefield has no prior history of criminal activity, as the court knows. Her local attachments to the community by way of family ties, business, or investments. She lives here in Bradenton, has lived here for a while. Her mother resides here. Her child resides here. The severity of the punishment imposed for the offense, that is substantial. There's no denying it. And any other circumstance relevant to the question of whether the person would be tempted to remove herself from the jurisdiction of the court. Ms. Benefield, on every single occasion over the course of the life of this case, has appeared when requested. She has never once failed to meet any obligation pursuant to the bond that she's on. As a result, we ask that the court entertain setting a post-trial bond. The only other thing that the court noted in the Younghands decision was that it's axiomatic that the exercise of judicial discretion should never be arbitrary, capricious, or unreasonable, and where the discretion is exercised in favor of denying to a person a basic and fundamental right, the reasons for doing so should be sound and they should be clearly stated. So pursuant to Rule 3.691, post-trial release, Your Honor, we ask that the court admit Ms. Benefield to bond, continue her on the same bond, in fact. And if the court is not inclined to do so, we ask that Your Honor stay the decision so that we can appeal directly to the second district. As the court knows, it's an accelerated docket because of the nature of the motion, that is to say, the bond.
Thank you. State, did you want to be heard?
Judge, I object to any bond at this point. The potential sentence is 30 years. While this defendant may have appeared at every court hearing, she was not convicted of the charge at the time. She has much more at stake at this point, being convicted of this crime, and I would ask you to deny bond.
In rebuttal.
No, sir.
Ms. Benefield, the jury, having found you guilty of manslaughter with a firearm, are going to remand you to the custody of the Manatee County Sheriff. We're going to revoke your bonds where you'll be held pending sentencing.
Here we go. Here we go.
All right, the court has stayed in recess until we get a sentencing hearing set up.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I trust Your Honor will issue a written order on the bond.
The bond?
Yes.
Yes. If it's required, I certainly will.
I was just waiting to hear if they talked about a sentencing date, but they just said that they were going to make that decision later. So we'll just have to keep a watch out for it. So I do have to say I appreciate that when she was remanded, she didn't throw a temper tantrum or, a hissy fit. She held her composure. She didn't, she really didn't do much of anything, right? She just took it. And I'm sure she's, saying in her mind, well, this isn't fair. So I'm, so my lawyers are going to appeal for me. I think it was a just verdict. For those of you who want to know the difference. So what happened was she was found guilty on manslaughter, not second degree murder. The second degree murder would have been if she, she had planned it more in advance. If she intended, at the time that she committed the act, that she intended to kill. They voted that she did not intend to kill. It resulted in a killing, but it was it definitely very much was her fault. And she needs to you know, serve time for that and consequences. And honestly, I think it's fair. And if the jury couldn't come to a unanimous decision about second degree, but they still feel that she had no that what she did was overuse of deadly force, unreasonable use of deadly force. That's basically what they ruled, was that it was unreasonable use of deadly force, right? And that she didn't necessarily intend for that to be deadly force. And it was just she made a very, 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 very bad judgment call in that moment in time. And I think there are a lot of people who believe that she completely planned this out. And I'm sure we could have a lot of conversations about this. I wouldn't, if the jury had come to a second degree murder charge, I wouldn't have quibbled with that either, based on all the things that that were presented at trial. But here's the issue. I don't think the prosecution nailed the premeditation case. I think we're in agreement, Patricia. I may have said it, maybe I said it very confusingly and inelegantly, but I think we may be on the same page. Maybe. So sorry if I'm confusing things, but well, that's it. That's it. We'll have to watch for the sentencing. I'm not. I have a good idea of the next trials that I'll be streaming, but not like, there aren't any that I'm thinking about streaming, like starting as soon as possible, like tomorrow. I know I have a bunch of a list of the trials that I'm planning to stream, and I know Sarah Boone is going to be one of them for sure. There are several others though that are coming up that I'm very interested in streaming. So keep your eye out for my channel. Remember, you might have to come looking for me, because it's very unclear whether YouTube wants you to know that my channel exists, but I don't know for sure. So I just have to keep telling people, if you really like watching trials on my channel, please remember to look for me. Thank you, my Limerick friend, Patricia. And it was really fun to see, like, on different days. And this is one of the things I like about streaming trials, is on different days, you get like different groups of people coming in, because not everybody wants to watch a trial every single day. Like some of us do. Some of us do like watching them every day. Some of us don't, some of us kind of want to wander in and wander out. And there were a lot of visitors that, kind of hung out with us for a few days and then left. And I it's fun. You know what I mean? It's fun to meet people like that. I'm glad it popped up for you tonight, Anonymous. So anyway, everybody who comes in and visits with me and chats with me and is respectful and adds to the conversation, I really, really, really do appreciate you. And that includes everybody that's in the chat right now. So thank you very much. And just keep a lookout. And at some point soon, when I'm in the right mood, I know I'm weird about this, but I have to be in the right mood to go live about certain things. And another straightway cult minister has been indicted on many, 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 many sex charges, ranging from 1995 to recent. A 30-year time span, y'all. And I've been covering that cult on my other channel. This is a whole new indictment that just came down on a completely different straightway location. So I'm undone about these people. I'm completely undone about these people. So I have to be in the right mood to talk about them. Oh, good, Rachel. That's good to hear. So, so please keep a lookout on my other channel as well, Checkmate, or you can find it by typing Checkmate or Checkmate Humanity, and you'll see the same goofy looking face icon staring up at you. So, I'm tired. I'm sure you guys are tired too. I hope you're staying cool and having a great summer so far, spending some time with your families and just having a better time than these people had today in court. So anyway, thanks, and I will see you all very, very, very soon. Bye.